The crowd was laughing. The cameras were rolling. And in the middle of the stage, under the brightest spotlight, stood a young black woman, clutching a golden trophy that was now broken in two. He had torn it apart. Live. On national television. Her eyes didn't blink, her lips didn't move. The laughter around her was deafening, but her silence, it was louder. Because no one, not even the man who destroyed her award, realized what she was about to do next. The smile on her face wasn't pain. It was a promise. A promise that would soon silence the entire studio. The event was called the Grand Vision Awards, the night where brilliance was celebrated and dreams were broadcast to millions. The set was all gold and glass, stage lights cutting through a hedge of smoke, and cameras swiveling like hungry eyes. Amara Leviss had walked that stage before. But never like this. This time, she wasn't a background artist. She was the winner. Her documentary, Echoes of Silence, had gone viral, a masterpiece about unheard voices in forgotten cities. Critics call her the new light of truth-telling cinema. She was the youngest nominee, the only black woman in her category, and the one no one expected to win. Until she did. As her name echoed through the studio, the applause rose like thunder. She walked gracefully toward the stage, clutching her flowing dark blue gown. The golden lights caught her braided hair like rays of flame. But not everyone was clapping. From the front row, Dean Callister, renowned TV host, millionaire producer, and self-proclaimed kingmaker, watched with a stiff grin. He was known for his humor, the kind that made others flinch. He had mentored Amara once. Or at least, he claimed he did. The truth? He had belittled her, ignored her, and once said, "You are talented, sure. But audiences don't connect with people like you." And now, that Sam Nobody was holding the award that once had his name on it last year. The camera panned across her face as she began her speech. Her voice trembled at first. "To everyone who ever felt unseen, this award belongs to you." The audience clapped. The music softened. For a second, it was perfect. Then Dean stood up. And the silence that followed was heavier than applause. He walked toward the stage with a mock grin, clapping slowly. "What a speech," he said into the mic, his voice dripping with irony. "I mean, truly inspiring. But let's be honest." He reached out, took the trophy from her hands. And laughed. "This thing's lighter than your story?" Then, with a casual twist of his hands, he broke it in half. Gasps rippled through the crowd. One of the judges stood up, mouthing, "What the hell?" The studio lights flickered as the cameras caught every angle. Amara stood still, staring at him. Her fingers were trembling, but not from fear. Dean chuckled into the microphone. "Relax, sweetheart. It's just a joke. You filmmakers are too sensitive these days." The laughter came, uneasy, forced, confused. The host tried to recover, saying, okay folks, let's," but Amara raised her hand. "Don't." The microphone picked up her voice clearly. The laughter stopped. She bent down slowly, picked up the broken halves of her trophy, and looked straight into the nearest camera. "A joke," she said softly. "Right." She turned to Dean, her eyes calm but sharp. "You taught me one thing, Dean. Cameras remember." Her words hit differently, quiet but heavy. Dean's smirk faltered for the first time. Security moved closer. Producers were whispering into headsets. But Amara wasn't done. She looked toward the audience, directors, celebrities, sponsors, all staring in stunned silence. "You think power protects you because you're on this stage?" she said. "I built my story from silence. And tonight?" She looked directly at Dean. "I'm going to show the world who you really are." The lights flickered again. The control room's feed began glitching. Screens around the studio flickered between live broadcast and black static. Dean frowned, turning toward the control booth. What's happening? Amara stepped back into the spotlight, still holding the broken trophy. You said people like me don't connect with audiences, she whispered. Let's test that theory. A loud beep cut through the speakers. Suddenly, behind her, the giant LED screen flickered back to life, and a video began to play. It was grainy footage of Dean at a private studio meeting, saying words that were never meant for public ears. Diversity hires don't bring ratings. We keep them for PR. Not for the awards. The studio gasped. Cameras zoomed in on Dean's pale face. He stammered, that's fake, this is, someone hacked. But no one believed him. Amara stood silently, the broken trophy reflecting the light of his downfall. The host whispered off camera, cut the feed, but the control room was frozen. The broadcast continued. Every word. Every second. Millions of viewers were watching. Dean looked at her, his voice breaking, You'll ruin yourself with this. She smiled, small, calm, devastating. I already did, she said. When I trusted you. The studio fell silent. No applause. No laughter. Only the quiet hum of 1,000 live feeds catching the moment a man who mocked her fell to his knees in front of truth. And as the cameras focused on Amara's face, she looked into the lens again. Let's call this poetic justice. The screen faded to black. But that was only the beginning. Because the real storm was still coming. The studio was silent, except for the whir of cooling fans and the faint hum of the giant LED screen still glowing behind her. Dean Callister stood frozen, his career unraveling live before millions. Amara didn't need to speak anymore, the footage did it for her. Then the lights cut out. For a split second, everything went dark. When the power flickered back, Amara was gone. The crowd whispered, the producers shouted into headsets, and someone yelled, "Find her, she can't just disappear." But by the time security reached backstage, all they found was the broken trophy on a chair. Half of it glowed faintly under the stage light, like it was still reflecting her fire. Cut to social media explosion. 30 minutes later, award night scandal was trending worldwide. Clips of Dean's racist remarks were circulating across every platform, spliced, subtitled, slowed down, analyzed. The internet was burning. Amara Levies just exposed the truth live. Dean Callister finished himself. This is the moment everything changed. Within hours, the network issued a statement. We are investigating the authenticity of the footage shown during the Grand Vision Awards broadcast. But the people had already made their judgment. Amara's name was everywhere. Her followers skyrocketed. The documentary she made, Echoes of Silence, hit 12 million views in one night. Yet she didn't post a single thing. Scene, Amara's apartment late night. The camera pans through a dark room. Laptop open. Curtains closed. The only light comes from her phone screen, thousands of notifications flashing. Amara sits silently on the floor, knees drawn up, watching the chaos unfold. Her best friend, Lena, bursts into the room. Girl, do you even realize what you did? You broke the internet. Amara doesn't respond. She's staring at the paused replay, Dean's face frozen mid-laugh, just before his downfall. It wasn't supposed to happen like that, she says quietly. I only wanted to speak. Not destroy. Lena kneels beside her. You didn't destroy him. He did that himself. You just handed the world a mirror. A tear slips down Amara's cheek, but she wipes it quickly. You think the world will let me walk away from this? Cut to Dean's office some night. Dean is pacing, phone to his ear. His face is pale, voice frantic. No, it's fake. It's AI generated, yes, I'm telling you. Get me a press statement, no, now. But no one answers. Even his PR team has gone silent. He looks at his reflection in the dark glass wall. His empire, his shoj, his sponsors, his credibility, all slipping away with each second. And beneath his panic, something darker flickers in his eyes. Hatred. You want war, Amara? He whispers. Fine. You'll get one. He picks up his phone and dials a private number. A voice answers. Low. Calm. You know what to do, Dean says. Find her. And delete everything. Scene, Amara's apartment, dawn. The next morning, Amara wakes to banging on the door. She opens it to find reporters, a wall of cameras and microphones. Amara. Did you plan the footage leak? Was it revenge or activism? Are you afraid of Dean Callister suing you? She slams the door, heart pounding. Her phone vibrates, an unknown number. She hesitates, then answers. Miss Levis, a calm voice says. We need to talk. Who is this? Someone who's been waiting for you to speak properly. Click. The call ends. She stares at her phone, unsettled. Later that day, cafe scene. Amara meets Lena at a quiet cafe. Her face is hidden under a cap, but whispers follow her anyway. Everyone recognizes her now. They're turning it into politics, Lena says, scrolling through her phone. Half the people call you brave, the other half call you dangerous. I told the truth, Amara replies. Since when did that become dangerous? Lena sighs. Since truth started costing money. Amara's gaze hardens. Dean won't stop here. I know him. He's already pulling strings. Just then, a TV in the corner flashes with breaking news. Network suspends Amara Levy's pending investigation. The cafe goes silent. Everyone looks at her. Lena curses. They're making you the villain. Amara's phone vibrates again, another unknown message. It's a single sentence. They found your backup drive. Her breath catches. That's impossible, she whispers. Lena frowns. What backup drive? Amara looks at her friend, fear finally breaking through her composure. The original footage, she says. There was more. I didn't upload everything. Lena's eyes widen. What do you mean, more? Dean wasn't alone, Amara says. He had partners, names that never got out. The drive had all of them. The cafe lights flicker. A black car parks outside. Two men in suits step out, scanning the room. Amara's heart races. She grabs Lena's hand. We need to go. Street scene chase. Cinematic handheld shot, the two women rush through alleys, the city alive with noise and chaos. Rain begins to fall, neon lights reflecting in puddles. Amara's voice trembles. They think this is just a scandal. It's not. It's a system. And now, they're scared. Behind them, the men follow, silent, methodical. A van screeches to a halt beside them. The door slides open. A woman's voice says. Get in. If you want to live. They freeze. The woman in the van wears a black jacket with a lanyard, a media badge from the SAM network that fired Amara. Who are you? Amara demands. Someone who saw what Dean did long before the world did, the woman replies. And I've got something you'll want to see. The men in suits round the corner. No time to think. Amara and Lena dive into the van. Tires screech. The van speeds off into the storm. Interior moving van but our rain scene. Thunder rumbles outside. The woman tosses Amara a tablet. A video plays, a feed from a security camera in Dean's office. He's not alone. 3 other men. 1 woman. Discussing funding, manipulation, and control over media narratives. We pick who gets famous. We decide who fades. The rest is just marketing. Amara's hands tremble as she watches. This is everything. The woman nods. And they know you have it. Lena whispers, "What are you gonna do now?" Amara looks out the rain-streaked window, her reflection merging with the storm. "The same thing I've always done," she says. "Tell the truth." The woman smirks slightly. "Then you'd better move fast. They just announced Dean's comeback interview tonight. He's calling you a liar." Amara's eyes darken. "Then I guess I'll see him there." Final cinematic moment, episode 2 ending scene. Close-up on Amara's face through the van window as the city lights blur behind her. Rain slides down the glass like tears, but her eyes are steady now, cold and certain. "He took my voice once," she murmurs. "He won't take it again." Camera pulls back, van driving into the storm, city skyline glowing. Music builds, low, haunting, full of suspense. Fade out. The next morning, the entire world woke up to one video, Maya Broke's live, the truth they tried to erase. In less than 3 hours, it crossed 10 million views. Clips from last night played at the start, the golden stage lights, the laughter, the sound of her award breaking. Then Maya's calm face appeared, her voice trembling yet firm. "They thought tearing my award would tear my worth. But I built that worth with words they couldn't even spell." The internet exploded. Her email, her old poems, the drafts she'd written as a janitor cleaning the Sam studio floors, all appeared on screen. The truth wasn't just about her talent. It was about how the very man who mocked her, Ryan Chase, the producer, had stolen her script 5 years ago and pitched it as his own. She had proof. A silence hung over every newsroom in America. Reporters who once ignored her were now at her door, begging for interviews. That evening, Ryan walked into the Sam studio, but this time, it wasn't for show. It was for public apology. The audience waited. Cameras rolled. He looked shattered, pale, and smaller than ever beneath the spotlight. I was wrong," he muttered, voice shaking. "She wrote the words that made me famous. And I destroyed hers." Then the doors opened. Maya walked in, dressed not in the tattered jacket from episode 1, but in a sleek black gown, her posture powerful, her eyes calm. The crowd stood up and clapped, tears in their eyes. Even the cameraman stopped filming for a second, just to watch. She walked to the center, where the broken pieces of her old award had been placed on a pedestal. The Sam one he had torn apart. Slowly, she picked up piece, gold dust still glittering on it, and said softly into the mic. "You can break trophies, but not stories. You can silence voices, but not truth." The studio went silent. No music. No applause. Just silence, thick, respectful, electric. And then, standing ovation. For the first time, Maya didn't cry. She smiled, small, knowing, unstoppable. The girl they mocked for dreaming too high had just rewritten history. As she walked off stage, her assistant whispered, "What now?" Maya turned, looking back at the studio lights fading behind her. "Now," she said, "we make sure no girl has to beg to be seen again." And with that, the doors closed. The headlines the next morning read, "The silence that spoke louder than fame. The girl they laughed at, now owns the network." Because yes, 1 month later, Maya bought the very channel that had once tried to erase her. And in the first episode under her ownership, the title glowed across the screen. He laughed tearing her award on TV, but her story silenced the world.